But if you do stand beside a mirror, and this is a good actually a good exercise to do, it's very easy to pull your shoulders too far back, and you'll notice that your low back is arched and your stomach is stretched out, or to slouch forward from the hips, and you'll notice your shoulders are rounded and you're bending forward from the hips. But if you stand up nicely square and you think of a quarterback or a tennis player or anybody like that, and then you just put your arms at your sides like a runner instead of waiting to receive a ball or instead of holding a racket, and you then stand up straight, you will notice that the weight is being carried on the forefeet, and that's an effective running posture. You're being held up by your feet pressing down into the ground, then you're in a good posture. But if you're balanced on your heels, you're probably too upright.
Okay. Kevin, what's your experience with learning the connectedness, as Bob calls it, leaning from the ankles?
Well, for me, I always had a problem with leaning too much from the hips. So you would kind of see me running, and it was almost like a little bit of a lean from the ankles, and then way too much of a lean from the hips. It wasn't a straight line. So that's something that I always had to work on. So when I'm running, I'm always thinking to lean from the ankles. And it's still something that to this day I have to work on.
Yeah. Okay. Bobby, let me go to the live questions. You've had some very good ones from coaches that you'll have to go through on the chat roll also. This is from. Let me just go from the top here. Would love to see this course as a CEU credit. That's one of the first comments. A lot of coaches on here want to see this as a CEU credit. Do you have any commentary on that?
Oh, absolutely. The paperwork is being completed. We're just trying to decide how to break that up. I am in communication with Linda Cleveland from USA Triathlon. The course has been approved for CEUs. It's just that the final paperwork needs to be put in place.
Wow, that's great news. Well, I'm sure the coaches will love this because they always need to get their credits.
Correct.
For those of you on the call or those listening, what is a CEU if you're not familiar with that?
It's a continuing education unit, and if you are a certified coach with USA Triathlon, every 2 years you have to have a certain number of these continuing education units to be able to maintain your coach certification on whatever level you are certified at. And there are a number of ways in which you can get these certifications, and one of those ways is to do online courses. And both my books actually also have CEUs attached to them. There are some online questionnaires that you need to follow through the USAT website that will also gain you access to further CEUs.
Okay. And Shauna Chavez, she wrote her first question tonight. Said, I'm a newly transitioning into the natural running form. I bought the less aggressive Newton Energy shoe to help with the forefoot strike. I'm noticing that on some of my runs, my middle toes are going numb. I had the shoes fitted to me at the store, so I do not believe the problem comes from the shoe fit. Could you suggest what it could be? Could it be my forward lean, or am I landing more on my toes and not my forefoot?
That's a good question. It's very unlikely that as a former heel striker trying to move to midfoot that you are landing on your toes unless you have a very sort of ballet-like prance that you're doing. It's very hard to actually do that incorrectly. There are a number of reasons why those middle toes could be going dead. It could be a lacing issue, where your laces might be a little tight around the top. If you were fitted well for the shoes, it's probably not the toe box that's too shallow or too narrow for you. It could also be an issue of you being unable to relax your foot at some point in the gait because you're working so hard to establish a new gait. Remember, when you do move to a more of a forefoot strike, there's a lot more of your lower rear leg involved. Your calf muscles, your Achilles are much more involved. And sometimes you can get a little bit of a curled up hammer toe kind of approach where you are just too tense in those toe control muscles, and you can end up getting dead in there. And then also sometimes when you change to a more of a performance low drop shoe like the Newton shoe, You also might find that you need to look at your socks. You might possibly need to wear a thinner sock to improve your kinesthetic feel, so you can relax your feet inside of the shoes. So there's a number of reasons why that could happen. So go through some of those and see if that answers some of your questions.